Hello Star Seekers, thank you for joining me in this video. Today we will be discussing the new moon in Aries on March 21st, around that time, depending on where you are in the world. And this is also the spring equinox. The sun moves into Aries, the moon moves into Aries, and there's a few other planets there, and they are making aspects with some other planets. So stay with me as we discuss the potentials of the new moon in Aries for you. Now, my usual disclaimer about which sign you should be watching. In order to know where this energy will be affecting you, you need to know which houses these particular signs fall into, specifically Aries for this new moon. Which house Aries falls into is determined by your rising sign, not your sun sign. Horoscopes are determined through rising signs. Your sun sign is very important when you're learning about your personality and how you shine in the world and where you show off. But when we're talking about predictive horoscopes, it is your rising sign that we are looking at in order to determine which house a sign falls into and therefore which area of life this energy will be felt in. So, with that said, let's get into this. Thank you for joining me. Let's get right into this. We've got a lot to talk about. So when we have a new moon, we have the sun and the moon together in on the same side of the earth. And in this instance, they are in Aries, which is your fourth house. Now, during this new moon, we also have Mercury or the Magician and Jupiter or the Wheel of Fortune joining those planetary bodies. So we've got a big party going on here in your fifth house. What this means is that when the sun, the moon, Mercury, Jupiter are all in Aries and in your fifth house, this can bring a strong desire for self-expression and creativity. This is the house of creation, recreation, and procreation. This can bring success in artistic and in performance-based pursuits, trauma-based pursuits, or creative projects. This can also bring a tendency towards taking risks in your romantic relationships, so be aware of that. Now, there's also a tendency towards impulsive decisions relating to pleasure, entertainment, and these have the potential to lead to a bit of financial and emotional instability. So things like gambling or, spending all of your paycheck on the weekend and not paying your rent. These can be bad things, and there's a potential for that, so be aware. We also have Venus just over here, right next door. Venus just moved into Taurus a few days before this new moon, and Venus rules Taurus, so it's at home there. Now, when it's in your sixth house, this is bringing a heightened appreciation for the beauty, harmony, and pleasure within your work environment or your daily routines or schedules or that mundane sort of day-to-day activities. This placement here of Venus can indicate a need for stability and security in your work environment and in your approach to your health. Venus is joined by Uranus. Uranus has been in Taurus for a while now, and it will be there until 2025. Venus is moving on in May, but Uranus will be there for a couple more years still, and it has been there for a few years. So you've been feeling this Uranus and Taurus energy for a while, and this has been bringing unexpected changes and sudden shifts in your work environment, your personal health, and in your daily routines and situations. This placement indicates a fascination with innovative and unconventional ideas relating to these areas of life, your daily routines. So this can show up as alternative approaches to your health and your wellness or non-traditional work arrangements. Now, together, the Venus and the Uranus, this is bringing a mix of the stable energy of Venus and the unpredictable energy of Uranus, and that is all happening in your work, health, daily routines. So this could manifest as a desire for more pleasure and stability in your day-to-day life. And it's combining with this willingness to try new and unconventional approaches to your work life and to your health and wellness. We also have Saturn here, or the world, in your 4th house. Saturn just moved into Pisces a few days before this new moon. This is bringing the experience and emotional heaviness of Saturn's restrictive effects onto your domestic life and your family relationships and your sense of security. Neptune is also there, bringing an enhancement to your intuition and to your spiritual connection to your home and your family or your foundation or your roots, but it's also blurring the boundaries and leading to some confusion or idealization of your past. Together, the effect of Neptune and Saturn in Pisces in your 4th house, this can create a complex interplay between the structure of Saturn and the fluidity of Neptune in your sense of home and environment or your emotional foundation situation. So this is requiring you to balance between the need for practicality and your intuition so that you can navigate this effectively. Now the sun and the moon over here in your 5th house, these are in a square angle to Mars, which is in Gemini in your 7th house. This will be moving out of here soon, but for now, what this has been doing is bringing a strong emphasis on the sun and the moon over here in your 5th house. This is really emphasizing your creativity and your self-expression and your romantic situations, and this placement can indicate a need for you to express yourself through your artistic pursuits or through dramatic pursuits. You also have a strong desire for passionate, intense romantic relationships. The squaring off with Mars here, this can create tension between your need for independence and self-expression and your desire for harmony and balance within a relationship. The 7th house is the house of unions and relationships. So you need to work on finding that balance between your individual creative expression, who you are, and who you are in a relationship with someone here. And this could be a business partnership, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. We also have the sun and the moon in this 5th house. They are conjunct this Neptune. Neptune is just at the tail end of Pisces, and it's about to move into Aries, and the sun and moon just moved into Aries. So they're only 5 degrees apart, which makes them actually conjunct even though they are in different signs in different houses. And a conjunction is when planets are within 5 degrees of each other, give or take, depending on who you ask, and they are harmonizing their energies together as opposed to conflicting them. So what this means is that there's a potential here for you to be highly creative and imaginative in your approach to self-expression and emotional security. This placement can indicate a desire for you to use your artistic talents and to create a sense of emotional fulfillment and to connect with others on a deep and intuitive level. But be aware of the challenges that this can bring relating to maintaining boundaries in your romantic relationships or with your children or other people's children that you have a relationship with. There's also a very strong tendency here towards escapism, isolationism, and a desire to remove yourself from the society at large in order to pursue your artistic creative projects. You just kind of want to break away and just be creative, but you also want to make those connections with others, so you have to find that balance between the two. The sun and the moon in the 5th house are also making a 60-degree angle to Pluto. Pluto is over here in Capricorn. Now, Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008, so you've been feeling this Capricornian energy, this Plutonian energy in your house of finances and money and your ability to be self-sufficient. That's about to change. Just a few days after this new moon, Pluto moves into Aquarius. So using the whole house system, Pluto will be moving into your 3rd house, which is a huge shift, whole different situation. It will be coming back to visit this occasionally over the next year and a half, but eventually it will be moving into your 3rd house until the mid-2040s. So this is a big, big deal. I'm hoping to do a whole other video just on Pluto movement, but for now, during the full moon, Pluto is still in Capricorn, which, again, using whole house signs, this would be in your second house. This is making a square aspect. I'm sorry, this is a sextile or a 60-degree aspect, so this is an opportunity. The sun and the moon over here in your fifth house and Pluto in your second house are helping each other to create opportunity. And what is this opportunity? This is the potential for a powerful and transformative energy for your creativity and your creative self-expression. This placement can indicate a desire for material stability and your ability to harness your own personal power to transform your financial situation. Be aware, though, that there could be a tendency towards materialism and possessiveness in these areas of life, in romance, hobbies, children, creative expression, if you don't channel this energy constructively. Okay, now the square with Pluto in the second house, this could suggest power struggles or hidden issues related to control and transformation in your values or your self-worth. And this can impact your relationships and your career goals. So it's really important for you to confront and work through any underlying issues you have in order to cultivate and create a greater sense of self-worth and to balance your personal and your professional life. Mars over here in your seventh house is in a trine to this Saturn that just moved into your fourth house. This is bringing the discipline, strategic approach of Saturn to your relationships as well as to your home life. And this is focusing on the practicality and intellectual pursuits that are going to support your overall goals. This aspect can suggest a potential ability to use your mental energy and to focus to create a stable and secure home environment. You are also really being able to communicate confidently and assertively in your partnerships, in your unions or marriages. It's important for you to be aware of the potential towards any kind of defensiveness or conflict within your relationship. Mars brings the desire for conflict, really, as well as in your domestic sphere. This could impede your progress again, and it can stifle your success in the areas of your home and family and in your one-on-one relationships. Now, lastly, the last important aspect of this new moon is this Mars over here that's been really sort of heating up your house of one-on-one relationships and kind of breaking things down. I mean, we can see by the Tower card, this is crisis. It's upheaval and revelation. It is the purpose of the upheaval is to reveal something that that has been hidden to you. Now we have this Mars over here in that house of unions, partnerships, one-on-one relationships. It is making a square to this Neptune in your house of home, family, private life, emotional foundation, past life. Now, this is suggesting a time of you being highly idealistic and sensitive in your relationships. There's a potential talent here for communication and negotiation within those relationships, but be aware that this alignment can also bring a tendency towards confusion and idealization in your domestic life and in your family relationships too. The square between the Mars and the Neptune is really challenging your ability to set clear boundaries and to assert yourself in your relationships and your family matters. So this is going to require a strong effort from you to cultivate practicality and clarity in the areas of your home, family, foundations, roots, past, as well as your current one-on-one relationships, unions, and partnerships. There's a lot of shifting and changing that's been going on in your daily life, and that is being given a little bit of stability by this Venus over here saying, let's just love what's going on right now. Let's enjoy it and feel the pleasure from it. Pluto, it's really been shaking up that house of making money and being self-sufficient, and it is about to move on and give your finances a break for a few months. It'll be moving back in July, but then back out again, and back in one more time, and then back out again for good. But just know that you're going to get a taste of what this is going to be like coming up soon. So that's all I have for you in this video. Thank you for watching, Sagittarius. If you have any comments for me, I'd love to hear them. Please give me a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.